Well, 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 look what y'all decided to drop in on this fine Tuesday morning here on the YouTube channel. This is another edition of the ETBU Sportsnet Coaches Show. I'm Kenneth the K-Rock Khan, but you already know that by now. And normally we don't like to dress up, but when we do, it's for a good reason. And this sharp-dressed man, as always, happens to be the head coach of the ETBU baseball team, head coach Jared Hood. No relation to Little Red, but that's okay because we are going to be talking baseball once again. You know, Coach Hood, I got to say, this team, I don't know if it's going through a little bit of an identity crisis or so. I can't decide if you're an offensive-minded machine like the Red Sox or a resilient team like the Cubs or Astros or the cardiac kids like the Royals, just to say the least. But you just managed to pull off incredible wins any way you can. But you're coming off a home stretch, 11-game home stretch where you won a 9-2. Big home stretch for you guys.
Yeah, it was good to be home after starting about the same on the road. We spent much of the month of February on the road. So to be able to come home and play at the Yard was good.
Absolutely, Coach. So talk about a great series with the LeTourneau University Yellow Jackets. It was a 3-game series. You took 2 out of 3. Could have won the 3rd game, of course, but hey, anytime you get a series win was huge, especially the fact that, you were able to come out of the gates winning the 1st game and then a walk-off victory the 2nd game, and then, of course, just the clutch play in the 3rd game in general.
Yeah, so we had some good all-around performances. We swung the bats well on Friday, and Underwood gave us a good effort on the mound, to be able to secure that victory. Seth McKeska just went off this weekend. Casey Combs had a good weekend. Ford Spigner had a good weekend. So just a lot of really good individual efforts that led to some big team wins. Quality effort in Game 3. We're able to tie it up in the bottom of the 9th with a grand slam by Gardner. Then, hour-and-a-half lightning delay. After that, just kind of lost some momentum. And give credit to LeTourneau. They were able to capitalize on some things, and they just made more plays than we did. Anytime you can win a conference series in this conference, it's a big deal. This conference is just everybody's just beating everybody. Nobody really knows what's going to happen. It's hard to tell who's going to pull ahead. Just this conference is so deep. It's really good to see this for the conference.
Certainly, Coach, and it's also good to see what's been going on with your team as well. Your starting pitching, of course, really strong and effective. Alan Underwood recently named the ASC Pitcher of the Week once again. I mean, I don't know what more can you say about your young guns as well. Obviously, you've got a starting ace in Derek Finley, but also, when you throw in guys like Stover and Underwood, it's definitely huge to see them picking up and progressing as the season goes on.
Yeah. I mean, they compete in the zone. Underwood, he throws a lot of strikes. He forces a lot of early contact. And that makes pitching easy. Because you're always ahead of the counts. Pitching gets hard when you're behind in the counts and you become predictable in what you have to throw over the plate. And he doesn't get himself in a whole lot of those situations. So he's done a really good job. But it also helps when he's pitching, and we're up 10, 13 to nothing, as well. Those are pretty easy circumstances to pitch, and it takes a lot of pressure off the young guy, which is good to see. And Stover and Finley, they've done a great job as well, competing in the zone. Finley's been our guy all year long. Just been really consistent, starting on the mound. Stover stubbed his toe just a little bit this weekend, but we'll get him back on track. We've got Blake Corbin back this week off of injury. We've had quality starts from guys like Zach Pierce and John Mars as well. So we've got a lot of guys that can do it. It's just finding the right recipe for success on the mound, rolling with the hot hand, and who's going to give us the best effort.
Absolutely, Coach. And I got to say, I was with y'all guys on a road trip recently in Abilene, and I've seen the impact of the team, especially with your assistant coaches as well. You have 3 former players for you in Tanner Matthews, Jordan O'Bannon, and Cody Pierce. Just talk about this, what they bring to the table, especially having played under your leadership as a head coach?
Well, I think it's important that we've got 3 former players, taking the reins of the program and taking ownership and help continuing what they help us build here. Those guys, they won a lot of ball games. They were a part of some really cool atmospheres and games and conference tournament runs. I mean, those guys, they were staple points in us being able to do that. So I think whenever you have those guys, when they graduate and they come back and they want to continue the success of the program, I think it just speaks volumes for not only ETBU as an institution and what we offer here, but what we offer as a baseball program. Those guys, they keep things fun. They keep things young and fresh and new, and our guys really relate to them and they respect them. And it's really a fun group from the coaching staff, to the players. It's just a fun group to be around. They love playing the game. They like being around each other, and win, lose, or draw, that makes things a lot easier. It's just a really good atmosphere.
Absolutely, Coach. Now, this week, of course, you're back on the road, but this is going to be, I feel like there's 2 challenges here this week. Number 1, you're taking on a quality Sul Ross State University team. But number 2, of course, it's getting there. It's a 10-hour bus trip from Marshall, Texas to Alpine. Obviously, how you get there is one thing, but, of course, playing against Sul Ross State is another challenge. So just kind of talk about, preparation and for a bus trip, especially for the young guys who really have no idea how far west is west, especially when you're going out there.
For us, the preparation doesn't really change a whole lot. I'm not worried about the bus trip. What I think about the bus trip to Sul Ross and to Alpine is just an opportunity to be around the guys, and if you're playing collegiate athletics, what more could you ask for? Just opportunities to fellowship and to get to know your players, get to know your teammates. So that's really the attitude that we try to press into that is, you can't look at it as, man, we've got to go all the way to Alpine. It's like, okay, well, we get to take this opportunity to spend more time together. Season's coming to an end. We're 3 weeks away from the end of the regular season, and these are the last 3 weeks that this whole team, this entire team, this roster will be together. So these are times that you have to cherish because in the next 10 to 15 years, these are the guys that you're going to remain closest friends with. Nobody's going to remember or really care how many games you won or lost in college baseball. Nobody's going to care who's the starter. Nobody's going to care who's the backup. It's the friendships and the camaraderie that you make while you're here. That's the stuff that lasts a lifetime. And all out the Alpine trip is for us, and what we try to preach is just another opportunity to get to spend with your brothers. And I think if we're going about our business that way, then when we get out there, yes, we're playing a quality opponent, but we're going to be able to give it our best effort because our attitude's right, our mentality's right, and the way that we approach the game will be right.
Absolutely, Coach. Well, going to be a fun bus trip for y'all out there, although I might throw in a little curveball there because you're going to have some good company on the bus with me on there. So it's going to be fun going back out to Alpine, a place I've been to multiple times. All right, Coach, thanks a lot. We will keep you guys up to speed with how that series hangs out. Let's check us out on our social media page, and we'll talk more baseball with head coach Jared Hood next week on the ETBU Coaches Show.